Hello and a very warm welcome. Thanks for tuning in to your favorite news destination. You're watching In Your Interest with me, Kabir Naqvi, and on the first segment on IYI, we're talking about a story, and we don't mean to raise any alarm, but it does account for some sort of accountability. 2 charter flight crashes within a month. It doesn't prove that there's a crisis per se, but it does demand some sort of scrutiny. Let's break that down for all our viewers. Take a look at this. Tonight, we look at a tragedy that has once again turned the spotlight on the safety of India's private skies. On Monday evening, an air ambulance, a flight meant to save a life, turned into a death trap in Jharkhand's Chhatra district. A Beechcraft King Air C-90 operated by Delhi-based Redbird Airways went off radar just 20 minutes after taking off from Ranchi. It was carrying a patient to the national capital for urgent treatment. And in the forested hills of Simaria, amidst a brewing thunderstorm, all 7 people on board that fateful flight were killed. Amongst the dead are the patient, the medical staff who were trying to keep him stable, and 2 pilots. But the tragedy of the crash is only half the story here. The family of the patient had reportedly borrowed nearly 8 lakh rupees to afford this flight in the first place, hoping it was their best shot at survival. Instead, they're now left with a debt and the bodies of their loved ones.
सेव करने ही गए थे किसी की, और ये एम्बुलेंस फ्लाइट थी. जो हमारा एक सेगमेंट था बिल्कुल ठीक गया है. फ्लाइट बिल्कुल सही गई है और वापस आते समय भी कोई एयरक्राफ्ट में डिफेक्ट्स नहीं थे. पायलट्स दोनों ही कैपेबल पायलट्स थे और एक्सपीरियंस पायलट्स थे. एंड वी आर रियली शॉक्ड. और इन्वेस्टिगेशन अभी हो रही है, हमें भी नहीं पता कि क्या हुआ है.
चिंता ये है कि आखिर जो चार्टर प्लेन सेफ है कि नहीं. हम लोग क्या कर रहे हैं, भारत सरकार क्या कर रही है. अभी अहमदाबाद में प्लेन क्रैश कर गया, मुंबई में चार्टर प्लेन क्रैश कर गया, झारखंड में चार्टर प्लेन क्रैश कर गया. तो जवाबदेही किसकी है? जवाबदेही नहीं होगी हम लोगों को. दूसरा सबसे बड़ा मुद्दा ये है कि हमारे पास झारखंड में हॉस्पिटल बढ़िया नहीं है. हॉस्पिटल के अभाव में पेशेंट दूसरे राज्य जाते हैं, और अगर हमारे पास अच्छे हॉस्पिटल होते तो हम लोग यहीं पर उनका इलाज कराते हैं.
Well, now this is the second major charter plane crash in a month's span. The first one happened in Maharashtra. That involved a Learjet 45XR with the registration VTSSK, operated by VSR Ventures, which is also based in the national capital and operates as VSR Aviation. It was on a charter flight from Mumbai's Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj International Airport to Baramati Airport. The plane crashed on approach to the runway 11 during a second landing attempt, that too in low visibility and fog. It veered into an open field, flipped, and then burst into flames. All 5 people on board, including Maharashtra Deputy Chief Minister Ajit Pawar, were killed. Now, questions are being raised about Redbird Airways, the operator in the Jharkhand crash. In 2023, the company had 5 accidents in 6 months, leading the DGCA to suspend its training operations in Baramati. In December 2025, just last year, there was a Technam crash. And in February 2026, a Cessna made a forced landing. DGCA actions pointed to maintenance and safety lapses, and the AAIB noted alleged evidence removal in an October 2023 incident, and an FIR was also filed in Pune. The company continues to face audits and regulatory oversight. These incidents come amid high-flying growth in India's private sector. Let's look at some numbers in the sector. The sector is driven by demand from high net worth individuals. We're talking corporates, medical evacuations. The fleet has jumped to 121 private jets by mid-2025, with projections of 700 aircraft by 2029. The market size was $3.16 billion in 2024 and is expected to reach $5.89 billion by 2035, within the next decade. Diverse operators offer charters, air ambulances, and corporate jets. Metro hubs like the national capital Delhi and Mumbai dominate these operations. We've got an esteemed set of panelists that will help you understand the discourse tonight. Big questions that we are asking on the show. Is the rapid growth in private charter flights outpacing safety regulations? Why was an operator with a documented history of safety lapses and DGCA suspensions allowed to continue high-stakes medical evacuation flights. And a lot more. With me on the broadcast, Captain C.S. Randhawa, President, Federation of Indian Pilots. Many thanks for taking out the time. Dr. Navneet Singh, Chairman, MSOS Aviation, an intensivist and emergency medicine expert, somebody who's headed BLK Nanavati and Fortis Group as Director of Emergency. Many thanks for taking out the time, Doctor. Captain Prashant Dhalla, former Flight Operations Inspector, DGCA, with us on the broadcast as well. Dr. Navneet, let's get the snowball rolling here. Let's understand and help the viewers also understand this context. I've made it quite clear right at the beginning as well that the debate is not about fear, it's about accountability. But in a high-risk environment like a medical evacuation, something that you specialize in, what separates a professional air ambulance operator from a basic charter providing or offering medical transport? Why I'm asking you this is because one needs to understand how rigorous are the medical and aviation readiness, the checks before an air ambulance actually takes off, and your entire viewpoint on the crash site, these visuals, dastardly and fatal, that we're seeing. Your viewpoint. Over to you, Doctor.
Thank you, Kabir. Well, first of all, I would like to correct that the Redbird Aviation you mentioned was a different company, which is a training company, and all the accidents you enumerated was that company, that was the training aircrafts. This company is different. They are a charter operators based out of Delhi, and they also do air ambulances.
Yep.
Unluckily, in India, we have the same charter aircrafts which are convertible into air ambulances with the approval from DGCA and all the OEMs. That's what it is. And in the Western world, there are designated air ambulances. But in India, we have these conversions which are very justified and regulated by the operator as well as the DGCA, and the permissions to convert comes from the OEMs, that is the original aircraft manufacturers. So this is what it is. That's one part. Now, operating an air ambulance and operating a charter, there is a life involved in this, and it's very sad to have this kind of accidents. There are multiple factors involved in this. The learned panel and the people from DGCA and the pilot panels, they must be putting better light on these exact what causes the air accident. But having said that, now after COVID, post-COVID, the scenario has changed drastically in India. And definitely the numbers you gave for the upcoming market of airlines in India, aircrafts in India, and private charters is overwhelming. And these all aircraft which are operated are very well maintained, and DGCA keeps a very tight watch on us. As an operator myself, we definitely go through rigorous checks and balances, and DGCA is always, there are like scheduled maintenance operations, and there are scheduled audits and checks which are very rigorously done by DGCA. The only thing is that, which I personally feel, is the lack of training facilities in India. Whether it's aircraft maintenance training, MROs, as well as the pilot trainings. And third is the aircraft which we are taking are mostly aircraft which are used before. Okay. So we usually don't buy a new aircraft except few people. And these aircrafts, let me tell you, the aircrafts does not have any age. So age-related query if somebody takes out, that's not very honest to be that way, because the aircrafts are never aged, because it's a very, very regulated field wherein any aircraft part is changed in according to the age. They cannot fly the aircraft even one day more than that. Whether this working or not working doesn't matter. Now, second thing comes up that the regulatory authorities are very, very keen on getting to the audits and safety checks, that they are rigorously performed. And let me tell you that aircraft accidents are by far the least accidents happen in India. Unluckily, it has happened. But if you see the data, the maximum accident don't happen in India. Okay. Because of the regulator checks and balances, and we care for some lives, because aircraft accidents are pretty lethal. There are very less chances of surviving those aircraft. That's why these are called very dangerous. But by and large, it's the safest mode of travel in the world. And as the time is going up, especially the patient care, people don't have access to the Center of Medical Excellences are not there in periphery, so they usually come to Delhi, Bombay, Ahmedabad, Bangalore, Hyderabad, and all so on and so forth in Chennai. So that is why these aircrafts are getting pretty common, especially post-COVID. People have opened to up to these medical center of excellences, and the aircrafts usually fly very safe. These aircrafts are pretty safe, and we have been doing this for last 20 years, and we have transported so many patients across the globe.
You've been
As far
doing
as
this for the last
maintenance
20 years, doctor. But let me interject here. You know, as this sector is expanding rapidly, we threw some numbers as well in the introduction. Are pricing pressures creating unhealthy competition in this critical care aviation?
Well, the competition is definitely there, but having said that, you cannot compromise with the safety of the aircraft. That's the thumb rule. Aircraft and a pilot has to perform 100%, not even 99.99% at all point of time. And there are mandatory checks which are done before flights and released by engineers and checked by the pilots and all other things. All the documentation is done. But having said that, the problem happens. That's what I said. The training is the biggest problem.
Okay.
So anytime your pilot is going out for training, they have to look towards Europe or somewhere down in US. And with current travel restrictions and all other things, it becomes pretty tough to get the training on a regular basis. So my suggestion is, like always, getting more training institutes in India for MROs, and as far as regulatory is concerned, they should be holding hands. So for everything, penalization is not the answer. You see, every time for any lab, I think
that's
it is much better to give
submission
rigorous
that
training
you've made.
on that one.
That is a pertinent point. You said, you know, training is of grave significance. We have Captain Randhawa here, the President, Federation of Indian Pilots. Captain, how are you looking at these developments? Dr. Navneet is of the opinion and view that, you know, training is of paramount significance, and it's usually, you know, a training problem. Yesterday, we did a show on Tejas as well, and one of the group captains there said that 1 out of 3 crashes is, of course, related to human error and, you know, pilot error. So your viewpoint on that, and about regulatory oversight keeping pace with the 50% plus growth in India's charter fleet. How frequently are these NSOPs and these NSOP holders audited? You know, throw some light on that front as well.
Okay, Kabir, as you pointed out correctly, first I'll tackle all these points one by one.
Okay.
First, I'll come to the training part.
Yeah.
There is a lack of training facility in India, that is with regard to the number of aircraft being operated. In fact, no country in the world has the facility to train so many pilots in their own country, whether it, you know, here we have a diversity of aircraft, the Falcon, the Global, and so on, Hawker and all that. So you cannot have all the training facilities in the country. That is for sure. The second point is that while we are at training, now the training standards maintained at these foreign ATOs, they maintain a high standard of training as far as any pilot is concerned. Now we come to the second point. The oversight on the NSOPs is very poor. And I myself have been long enough in DGCA, and always when I audited the NSOPs, there were a lot of loopholes, and they are audited once in 2 years. Okay, so the oversight is very poor on these NSOPs, and
Okay.
they cut corners, they take shortcuts because it's going to cost money. And with the growing aviation, now if you're going to add 700 aircraft by 29 in the corporate world,
Yeah.
DGCA is not geared up for it. And on the other hand, the scheduled airlines are going to go by plus almost 1,600 aircraft. This country is not geared up neither in DGCA nor in AIB. And the problem in our country is that people try to take shortcuts, which I'm sorry to say, in foreign countries, people do not take shortcuts many a times.
Okay.
Very few times. But in our country, given a chance, they will try to take a shortcut for anything.
Yeah.
Now, this yesterday's crash is related to weather. The crash in Baramati earlier, where Mr. Ajit Pawar died,
Yeah.
again, we flagged that issue that you're saying you will open up 300 airports, 400 airports. Pointless. Pointless. Because you do not have the infrastructure at these airfields. So there are bound to be accidents. Now there, the visibility required was 5 kilometers. What are the aircraft doing in 3 kilometers? Now here, again, if the weather was bad at Ranchi, I don't know then what was the forecast given and how the aircraft took off from Ranchi
That's
and
that's
how
a
did
great
the
point.
aircraft crash. So there are a lot of issues. There are maintenance issues. If you see the number of maintenance problems in scheduled airlines like Air India and Indigo, which DGCA had flagged, what is the action taken? Why are these maintenance actions having a repetitive, always a repetitive order? And even in NSOPs, very few times the pilots are putting snags. It can be checked, it can be audited, and it can be seen that what is happening. So until unless we plug all these points in India, we have a stronger DGCA,
Yep.
which means you have got to have a civil aviation authority.
I think the most pertinent takeaway over here, Captain, is the fact that you said, we give into shortcuts very easily, and that shortcut has cut short a life, and not just one life, but 7 all on board that fateful, flight. Captain Dhalla, let me come to you next. In smaller charter operations, from a pilot's perspective, do pilots face greater operational pressure compared to airline pilots? Are training and simulator requirements for charter pilots at power with the, scheduled airline standards? Help the viewers understand that particular point.
Kabir, let me just address 2 particular points here for the sake of your viewers,
Please.
Please understand that any kind of a medical charter, these are unplanned travels. They are all last minute. There is a coordination exercise between the hospital, the regulator, and the local district level, which is run by the district magistrate. So these are all unplanned travels. However, I always consider 3 A's to be very important. One is the aircraft, the second is the aircrew, and the very important point, third is the airport. Now, in this particular scenario, the aircraft is a medically approved aircraft, the King Air B200 series. Now we have to look into the details. It is part of the investigation process. What was the condition of this aircraft? Was all the documents in place? These are all parts of investigation. The aircrew, the trainings were there to carry out these last minute, departures. Were they trained to, carry out, were there, in their limitations to carry out this particular flight? Third is the airport and the weather. Like Captain Randhawa has just mentioned, it is not a healthy exercise for the media or for the people to categorically say that the pilot and the training or the weather is the cause of this particular accident. You see, it is an exercise which the regulator does it very seriously. All these things are emerging in India. It is a dynamic industry that you will not have static environments in aviation. India is growing at a very rampant pace.
Yeah.
So I am totally in agreement with my senior Captain Randhawa that the regulator should, pull up the socks. There should be proper subject matter experts in the organization. And the fact finding should be done in such a way that such kind of incidents are never repeated. And the emphasis should be purely made towards the SOPs.
All right. Many thanks for your submissions. Dr. Singh, what do you make of what both the captains have said? With the growth, should India now consider a separate regulatory framework specifically for air ambulances, given the life-critical nature of these particular flights? And whilst you're at it, how about we also throw some light on immediate reforms? There's always room for improvement. What are some of the immediate reforms that come to your mind when we talk about restoring public confidence in these charter flights? I've said it in the beginning as well. This is not about fear, but about accountability.
Kabir, the thing is that we are there in a changing world, which is dynamics are pretty changing in every nook and corner of the world, especially in India. The aviation sector is growing on a breathtaking pace, and now people are more aware of the air ambulances. We get close to 20 calls a day, and so are the other people as well. We have framework, strict framework, and nothing can be changed. Aircraft runs on checks and balances, and every aircraft is any given point in time like new. So that's one thing. Second, SOPs are already there. Okay. Now the biggest problem, which I tell you, I feel personally, is that the aircraft operations of air ambulances are done with very few, minuscule percentage of people who are opting for air ambulances, but because our country is so big, it becomes a sizable number. Now, second thing is that there are no dedicated air ambulances. So we have to make some framework for the dedicated air ambulances, and there are more prohibitions than actually doing things. We cannot, if we have to change aircraft into a complete dedicated air ambulance, the whole aircraft has to be scrapped and then done a complete makeover of the aircraft, which is not possible. It is a very high cost demanding operation, number one. Number two, it is not done in India. So most of the aircraft, as I told you, are bought, repurchased, right? And then we do the aircrafts and we get it outside, and there is no support from the banker. So no aircraft is not, a normal operator cannot buy an aircraft unless until he gets the money from an investor. So that is one thing, because it's a cost intensive process. So whatever we have to do is that we have to make them air flyable and very worthy, airworthy, which is very, very nicely done by DGCA, but it's such a huge number in such a big country. And NSOPs are all over the countries. So right from Hyderabad, Bombay, Delhi and other places, quite a lot of new NSOPs are coming every day. There are like quite a few registration done. But having said that, as far as my submission is that the regulator has to handhold at all times. I know it's a tough task, as Captain Randhawa said. It's a tough task, we are not geared up. But having said that, penalization, unless it's a very grave thing, it is important. But penalizing in the form of hand-holding and giving them the training and giving them the right direction, that is what we expect from the regulator. So we have to work as a collective team rather than one being up and one being down. We have to sit on the common table and design SOPs and see what exactly, and take everybody into confidence. These accidents will definitely happen because of the weather and multiple other things. But we should not be able to point out that there was no human error in that. As far as regulation is concerned, as far as aircraft quality is concerned, as far as aircraft maintenance issues are concerned. And yes, as other captains said, there are cutting corners because they are, and every part, nothing is available in India. Every part it goes off, we have to look forward to the best. So it is a ground time of 10 days minimum for every aircraft, for the smallest part. So that is the part again which is very worth it, because if we are agreeing to getting the industry to such a high pace, we have to have some support from the banking
So essentially that
system
synergy is missing, that hand-holding is missing, that synergy is missing. When you have such a pace of growth, that synergy is missing. Captain Randhawa, let's before we wrap up this segment, let's once again put ourselves in the shoes of the pilot. When weather deteriorates, like this thunderstorm in the Chhatra district, how much autonomy does a pilot realistically have to delay or abort a mission? And we're talking about VIP charters, we're talking about air ambulances, the medical VIP flights.
You see, the pilot, like what we have seen even in the Baramati crash, and when they're carrying VVIPs, they come under pressure, the pilots come under pressure because the VVIPs constantly pestering through their staff for the pilot to execute a landing and reach on time. That is one thing. And the secondly, in case of even the charter flights or air ambulances, there is a commitment to be made, so the pilot comes under pressure. However, I'll tell you with my experience of almost 45, 47 years in aviation, that pilot should never take a chance with the weather. In case the weather is not conducive and it is not within the criteria, then you should abort that flight or delay that flight. But do not be in a hurry to execute it and go ahead. So that is one point I would say. The second point which I would like to cover, what Navneet said about the MROs. I fully concur it, because there is all these corporate aircraft, they are not serviced by the Indian MROs.
Okay.
Maybe one odd aircraft. Otherwise, most of these aircraft have to go out to the foreign MROs, and which is expensive. Even the training of these pilots, which is recurrent training, which is carried out, is much more than the scheduled airline pilots. So all these issues are there, of course.
I understand. There's a lot of cutting corner. The MRO aspect, training is a big issue, and what Dr. Singh was talking about, the synergy that's absolutely missing over here on that particular front. I've completely run out of time here. My apologies, Captain Dalla, for not coming to you for that closer, but completely run out of time here. Captain Randhawa and Dr. Singh, many thanks for taking out the time and helping us bring up to speed, as to the charter flights and the safety concerns that are revolving around this entire sector. Many thanks for taking out the time. I've said it right at the beginning as well. This is not about creating fear. It's about accountability. India's charter aviation sector is growing fast. Oversight, training and enforcement must also keep pace. 2 charter flight accidents within the same month, and that's why this warrants a discourse. Maybe we can move on from this, and let's hope that good sense prevails. A quick commercial breather here. On the other side, our second segment on IYI. Don't go anywhere.
रश्मि, ये मैडम बड़े शहर से छोटे शहर बसने जा रही है, बता। छोटे छोटे शहरों में ही तो है बड़े बड़े अखाड़े, नए नए दावपेच सीखेगी और फ्यूचर में मेडल जीतेगी। पर बेटा, इनका फ्यूचर?
बड़े पापा, SBI लाइफ से इनका फ्यूचर सिक्योर है।
अभी तो इसकी जीत का इरादा पक्का है। करो पूरे अपने इरादे, अपनों से किए सभी वादे। SBI लाइफ अपने लिए, अपनों के लिए।
Every champion's journey starts with second thoughts.
क्या हुआ?
Till they see it's possible and there is someone who truly believes in them.
एक दिन बहुत बड़ा आदमी बनना है ना?
Orchids, the international school, raising 85,000 champions across India.
Hi, hello, namaste. Kuzuzangpo. इस वक्त मैं हूँ गांगते मोनेस्ट्री में। इन खूबसूरत वादियों को देखकर मुझे हमारी बॉलीवुड की एक फिल्म याद आ रही है। तब कुछ लोगों ने विराट और अनुष्का को पहचाना।
Many thanks for staying within your interest. Our second segment talks about how politics enters your kitchen. Protein versus purity. Food, faith and facts. What is it that Bihar is actually banning? Take a look at this. We turn our attention now to a controversial policy announcement from the state of Bihar that has sparked widespread debate. In Bihar, what is on your plate is no longer just a matter of personal choice or nutrition. It has become a matter of state policy. The state government has introduced restrictions on meat and fish sales, with the Deputy Chief Minister linking it to preventing violent tendencies, especially amongst the children. You heard, that's right, that's what he said. Bihar's Deputy Chief Minister, Vijay Kumar Sinha, has said that the changing face of Bihar is clearly visible. He explained that from a health perspective and for a social interaction, the government will now ban the sale of meat and fish near educational and religious institutions. He's also added that this is to prevent violent tendencies amongst children. Listen in.
कौन से सामाजिक सौहार्द के लिए और बच्चों के हिंसक प्रवृत्ति रोकने के लिए हम शैक्षणिक संस्था के निकट, धार्मिक संस्था के निकट और खुले में भीड़ भाड़ के जगह पर इस तरह के खुला मांस मछली की बिक्री कहीं न कहीं मेरे पवित्र भावनाओं को प्रदूषित करता है। प्रदूषित सामान लोगों के स्वास्थ्य को खराब न करे, इस चिंता से हमने इस तरह के वातावरण को सख्ती के साथ नियम के तहत लोग पालन करें, और नहीं करेंगे तो उस पर कार्रवाई भी होगी।
Well, now the policy bans open roadside sales of meat and fish. This is in the urban areas, allowing only licensed shops to operate. Under the new rules, a license is mandatory, and there will be no display of meat or fish near schools or religious sites. This is not a total ban, as indoor licensed sales are still allowed and rural areas remain unaffected. The reasons given include hygiene, sanitation, social harmony, and like we mentioned earlier, child protection. They will turn violent otherwise. Enforcement is already underway with fines, seizures, and sealing of shops for violations. The fallout from these curbs is also raising concerns. The livestock sector contributes 28% to Bihar's agricultural GDP, and millions depend on the meat and fish trade for their livelihoods. Small vendors could be hit hard as they may face costs for these licenses. They are expensive. We're talking about rent for those indoor spaces and refrigeration, which might force some to close down. The timing of the move, just ahead of Ramadan, could hurt seasonal earnings. Certain communities like Muslim butchers and fisher folk may be disproportionately affected. And this policy comes against the backdrop of Bihar's malnutrition crisis. We've got some numbers for you. According to NFHS 5 data, 42.9% of children are stunted, with 20% severely affected. 22.9% of children are wasted, including 9% severely. 41% of children are underweight, with 13.9% in the severe category. Rural areas fare worse than urban ones across these indicators. We've got big questions for all our viewers and those watching, and of course the panelists. On what specific basis does the Bihar government link meat consumption to violent tendencies? And does this rhetoric undermine the state's duty to promote a scientific temper? With NFHS 5 data showing that nearly 43% of Bihar's children are stunted, can the state really afford to create barriers to high protein food source like fish and meat? With us on the broadcast, Dr. Rajesh Ranjan, spokesperson for the RJD, GM Shaheen, leader for the JDU, with us on the broadcast. Many thanks for taking out the time. Amarnath Tiwari, assistant editor at The Hindu, is also with us on the broadcast. Let me, go across to the ruling dispensation. GM Shaheen, leader of the JDU, with us on the broadcast. Sir, help the viewers understand the rationale and the science. We have somebody from the RJD as well. I'm going to put those questions across. But the Deputy Chief Minister has linked meat sales near schools to violent tendencies amongst children. What specific behavioral evidence really supports that particular claim? On public health versus perception, why is the government coming out with this policy, and why is politics now entering the kitchen, sir?
First of all, let me make it absolutely clear. The decision is not about the banning food. It is about targeting any community. It is not about an interfering of anyone's personal choice. Simply, this is a matter of a regulation. Across India, liquor shops are restricted. In Bihar, liquor shops are restricted. And other places, other states, their liquor shops are restricted near schools, near temples, right? Tobacco sales are restricted near education institutions. Why? Because sensitive zones require regulation, disciplinary. So when the government decided to regulate meat and fish shops within a defined parameter of schools and religious places, it is an administrative decision, not a social attack. Let us not politicize governance, right? In Bihar, we must protect the educational environment of children, school, or space of learning and discipline. Similarly, religious places are space of devotion, harmony, regulation around such as is a matter of a civic order. Now, I also want to address the livelihood concern. Small vendors are not criminals. They are hard-working citizens.
Absolutely.
Before if relocation is required, it must be done with a proper alternative vending zones. No family should suffer economically. Regulation must.
How is the government making sure of all of this,
right.
Mr. Shaheen?
Absolutely.
How is the government making sure? I mean, you gave a great example, Mr. Shaheen.
Absolutely.
Liquor shops are being banned. Liquor shops are being banned because there is violent behavior. We know.
Absolutely.
But with meat, how is there violent behavior? I mean, is there behavioral evidence on that, sir?
Let me speak. Those who are trying to criminalize the issue are doing injustice to the real debate.
Which is?
Right. The government has not banned meat. It has not entered your kitchen. It has not dictated your food habits. It is only regulate a commercial activity near specific institutions. Simple. Governance require balance between freedom and order, between rights and responsibilities.
What about those shops,
stand
Mr.
for
Shine? Okay,
constitutional governance.
you've made pertinent points, sir. Let me ask you a question. You've made pertinent points. I'm saying the license is going to cost some amount. What if the vendor does not have that money, does not have money for refrigeration, does not have money for the rent that is going to be entailed when you have to move indoors? Big meat shops will, of course, be able to, tackle this very smoothly. But what about those who don't have the money? How will the government make sure? And look at some of these numbers. Bihar being the 4th largest fish producer, 10th largest meat producer. And this is happening, by the way, just before Ramadan. So there is some sort of political messaging and signaling. You can't really deny that. How is the government ensuring that these small vendors, and you've made credible points, I'm conceding, those are all credible points.
Absolutely.
But how can one say that the politics has not entered the kitchen?
Yes. Please tell me.
No, I'm asking you, how do you make sure that politics has not entered the kitchen? Because it might not have entered the kitchen, but it certainly entered the shop,
So
the
it's
vendor shop.
It's the habit of the people,
Yeah.
to enter in the different matters, because
Okay.
as I told you clearly, the situation, the facts, but the intention of the government is not to stop anyone to eat the fish or eat your chicken or what you will decide. We support any decisions that strengthen public order, respect religious sentiments of all communities, and protect and dignity of educational institutions. Provide livelihoods and safeguard.
Okay. I'm going to come back to you, Mr. Shine. We also have spokesperson for the RJD, Dr. Rakesh Ranjan is with us on the broadcast. Doctor, let me be the devil's advocate here. Exposure to slaughter visuals out on the open road, it can be disturbing to children. Religious sensitivities in shared urban spaces, it needs to be considered. What is it? Why is it that the opposition in the state of Bihar is against this governance?
Yes, Kabir. Good evening, Kabir, and my co-panelist and your viewer as well. This government is very selectively doing all the effort to destroy all the social harmony and other things. In Bihar Municipal Act 2007, there are more than 484 or the regulations are there, but they are picking just one. There is a 345 and trying to just destroy this social harmony just before the Ramadan. I'm not talking about what you are doing, what not doing. I'm talking about their intention.
Okay.
Other issues also, their job, their other things are also need to be considered. See, I was listening, JDU spokesperson, he's talking about to protect the educational environment. The government who has destroyed the education system, destroy the educational institutes, and now they are saying that they are just trying to protect the educational environment. Listen, they are just doing all these things just to protect their economic interest.
No, I'm not satisfied by his answer.
They're friends. They are friends. Now they are saying the license and other thing is needed. This act has been made in 2007. And right now they are trying to implement it in a way without offering any alternative to those people also.
Okay.
So, see, licensing process and also the renting process. What about the small vendor? Are they capable
Those are all questions. I'm going to go across to GM Shaheen again. I'm going to go across to GM Shaheen again and ask him all of those questions. But to help understand whether, I mean, what side is the discussion tipping off to? You know, we have with us Amarnath Tiwari, assistant editor, The Hindu. Mr. Tiwari, you know, how do we separate genuine governance concerns from political signaling? Is there any specific link, rationale, or I'm going to come to you. I'm going to come to you, Dr. Ranjan. Wait a minute. Let me bring in Dr. Tiwari, Mr. Tiwari. Mr. Tiwari, you know, meat markets, violent tendencies in children. How do we sum it all up? I mean, does the government have a point here or not?
You know, there is a very thin line between what the ministers said to the press persons and what the secretary of the department, Housing Development and Urban Development and Housing Department, Secretary Binay Kumar had issued a letter to all municipal commissioners saying that unlicensed shops will be closed, which are running at a crowded place. There is no mention of this violent tendencies among the students or children or whatever it is, the minister was saying. The minister has said a week ago in the House, while talking to the reporters and talking to the, you know, media persons, saying that yes, while I was touring Darbhanga in course of my department, he is also minister of several departments. Land Reform Ministry is also under his tutelage. So he was touring as a minister of Land Reforms department to Darbhanga, and there the local people had, you know, requested him to shut the doors of the unlicensed shops, and he was discussing along with his department officials, and he is into it right now. But then in the letter, there is no mention of the violent tendency among the children. It is clear that unlicensed shops, which are violating the Act of 2007, Bihar Municipal Act 2007.
I'll ask you one more thing, Mr. Tiwari. I'll ask you one more thing. Okay, there is no linkage here, according to you. On Bihar's nutrition reality, you know, there's stunted growth, 42% of stunted children growth. Bihar is a protein deficient state. Does this linkage warrant a question as well? And what's your viewpoint on that?
You know, this is not a question of linking poverty or Bihar's poor health conditions to this decision of the government at all. But yes, the timing is very wrong. Timing is Ramadan or Ramadan is coming along very soon, and the people will raise the questions of it. But the minister was saying that unlicensed shops will be shut down by the government because of they're violating the rules of 2007 Bihar Municipal Act and 3454. That is the section. But there is, yes, definitely Bihar is a poor state and there is a deficient of nutrition among the children over 42% and all. That is true. That is the basic fact. But this decision of the government, I don't think that there is any linkage of this decision to that fact.
Okay. Let me go across to the political parties once again. Please exercise brevity. I need to go across to Dr. Ranjan as well. Mr. Shaheen, two questions that still need answers to. First and foremost is the license. Unlicensed vendors are going to be shut down. No unlicensed vendors. So somebody who does not have the money but has to feed his family, what is that person going to do? And what is the government doing?
That's not a question, because without license they can run any kind of a shop, especially while they are.
And what about the violent tendencies, sir? Violent tendencies.
Let me stop the propaganda here. Please, let me stop the propaganda here. This is not a food bank. Let me clear, this is not a religious targeting, and it's not moral policing. This is a zonal regulation. If liquor shops in other states cannot operate near schools, why should meat shops be treated as untouchable?
No, you're absolutely right. Liquor shops is directly related to violent tendencies.
When it suits the opposition, opposition's narrative, the opposition is deliberating, misleading the people. They want the headline, they want to polarization.
Forget about the opposition. Mr. Shaheen, listen to me. Mr. Shaheen,
it is run on the line.
Mr. Shaheen, listen to me. Understand the point here. Liquor shops is directly related to violent tendencies and behaviors. How is eating meat linked to violent tendencies in children? Just help the viewers understand that.
There are sentiments inside. People have sentiments.
Like what?
We can't have the right to hurt anybody's sentiments. You cannot hurt anyone. If there might be somewhere in puja going on, and other side there will be the butcher and he will.
Agreed, sir. Agreed. There is in near religious sites. No sale of meat. Ban sale of meat near religious institutions and schools. But what about the violent tendencies? You haven't answered that. Violent tendencies in children. I mean, if my child is eating non-vegetarian food, is he quote-unquote violent?
I'm not asking violent. It's not a question that I'm
That's what the Deputy Chief Minister said. Anyway, I'm completely run out of time here. Dr. Ranjan, final word to you. Your ending and closing submissions.
Yes, sir. They are going to regulate in the same way about the liquor ban and these all kind of things. There is no ban in liquor in the Bihar. Also, in this implementation part also, they are going to marginalize section and these all kind of the people who lakh and lakh people are running their family from this business are going to suffer from this, I think, nonsense, I think, is being done through this all announcement.
But there is an hygiene aspect. Okay, let me be the devil's advocate again here, Dr. Ranjan. There is an hygiene aspect. Open meat being sold in the open, there is public health issue involved.
See, Kabir, there is lots of things are being here done without licensing in the field of other Bhu Mafia, Balu Mafia, Sarab Mafia, and the all kind of thing is being run without licensing, and the all kind of thing, and so many people are involved in this.
See, don't mangle the things. Don't mangle the things.
Before just Ramjan doing this, and are they offering any alternative for this?
Okay.
That's the job of the government. You are in opposition. Please.
I've completely run out of time here. But I do understand you've raised some pertinent questions, and I think, Mr. Shaheen, we still don't have an answer on that violent tendencies front. Why did the Deputy Chief Minister say that? And look at what the journalist on the broadcast has brought to light. He's told us that categorically what the Secretary's letter says and what the Deputy Chief Minister has said, there is a thin line, there is a massive difference over there. There is no mention of violent tendencies in the letter. It clearly says unlicensed shops should go away. We're so close to Ramadan, it's already underway. What will happen to those small vendors is the big question. Policy must be rooted in evidence, but governance must also manage sentiment, and sentiment in political signaling has clearly entered the kitchen here. We lead you with that thought. You can make an understanding on that particular point for yourselves. But with that, it's a wrap on In Your Interest. We're going to see you again tomorrow. Many thanks for watching.
With the lights dim, legends of cuisine and mixology rise. This is where hospitality meets honor. From iconic hotel bars to unforgettable